For this week, we are playing Hello Charlotte Episode 2 as our intermezzo game between Acts 1 and 2 of Baldur's Gate 3. It is subtitled Requiem Aeternam Deo, which is Latin for Eternal Rest God. Released in 2016, again solo developed by Etheraine, random Estonian chick who God knows what they're actually like as a human. This game was kind of meant to more concretely hammer home some of the ideas in episode 1. So where episode 1 was kind of a rough draft proof of concept thing. Episode 2 is where I was told the series really kind of like tries to lean into its identity. So there's more polish, there's more weirdness, there's more Hello Charlotte shit. And that's my version of winging it. So, let's see. Right off the bat, let me pose a question to you guys. Would you rather live in Charlotte's house, or would you rather live in the world of 1000X Resist?
Well, I mean, at least if I'm in the world of 1000X Resist, there's a happy ending, right?
And a lot of pussy.
I mean, like, cyborg pussy doesn't even work?
Only one way to find out. I can tell you
Works.
what, there's more pussy there than there is in Charlotte's house.
If it works with a fleshlight, it can work on a cyborg.
Did they ever really go into, like, the dynamics of, like, how those clones are created? Like, is there a lot of metal in there? Like, am I gonna chafe really bad?
Seems like it's mostly, like, physical matter.
Yeah, I mean, we saw under the clone's face and saw, like, sinew, right?
As far as we know, they have functional vaginas.
All right, well, you know what? I guess that is kind of the tipping point for me to also say we should all live in 1000X Resist.
Yeah.
What makes you ask the question?
Is Charlotte, like, in high school?
Presumably, given most of this game takes place in a school.
There is a Zhao character.
There's a what character?
A Zhao character.
I hope you're not talking about Henri, dude. Henri is way cooler than Zhao. She fucking has a one-hit KO. Blackmail.
I personally like both characters.
Anyway, let's jump into gameplay. It's there. It exists.
Is it?
Maybe. I think, like, as gameplay goes, it feels more polished than episode 1, but that's because there's less there somehow.
Yeah.
I feel like the worst I have to say about the gameplay is reserved for your second question. But the stuff outside of the second question I felt was better than the first game, at least. Like the frustrating, the frustrating but not challenging, just annoying semi-platforming wasn't really there anymore, so that was nice. I like that.
No stupid ass game overs because you interacted with like a card on the ground.
Well, there was one.
Yeah, that shit still existed.
There was one that made me lose like 15 minutes of time because I didn't fucking learn my lesson from the first game.
Is it not the principal's office one?
Yeah, it's that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the only one I even know of that I could think of.
Yeah, this game got me in a real habit of like saving very frequently.
Yeah,
I got very fast at going X down arrow ZZ.
Yeah, that's what I did, except on the controller, but same difference.
I mean, there's the other one where you like fucking kill yourself with C, but that's like, it's an ending, so I guess I don't know if it counts.
I mean, they're all ends, right?
I thought there was another one. But
there are more. I just never saw them because the only way to get them is to fail at the puzzles, which I didn't do because I used the guide. But if you fail, there are 2 puzzles, and if you fail them, there's a bad end after each of them because you die instantly.
I thought the puzzles were a little better too, not by a lot, but a little better.
I agree.
See, I have maybe a hot take there. I actually like the puzzles in the first game better, but only because I thought conceptually the puzzles in the first game were better. It was just that their execution was total dog shit.
That's fair. Yeah.
In this game, I felt like the puzzles were significantly less interesting, but the execution was a little better.
Yeah.
I have a question since it is gameplay. Was there an actual purpose to the combat? Like, I'm just genuinely curious.
Absolutely not.
And I just heard, yeah, you're saying what I was kind of thinking.
I mean, the point that it's conveying is more of like a narrative tone one than anything else. There's no gameplay purpose.
It's because this was made in 2016, and that would have been a cool idea back then. But nowadays, like, it's not cool at all.
I guess real quick, another thing, just before I forget, is that sprint being bound to the same button to skip dialogue is one of the worst things I've ever fucking seen in a video
so
game.
much dialogue at the beginning of the game because of that.
God, I forgot about that. I forgot to put that in my notes somewhere. Fuck, that drove me absolutely nuts.
There's a sprint button?
Yeah, there's a sprint button.
Dialogue button.
There's a sprint button that is also the same button to skip through dialogue extremely quickly.
And it's normally not a problem, except that there's just like very few times where you hit a trigger that is not something like a wall or a door, and you skip like 3 dialogues, and you don't know if it was important. It was just like superfluous bullshit, and it's just like, did I save recently? Is it worth reloading just to read like 3 dialogues?
I mean, a good Steam feature for that is if you have Steam recording on, you could just go to the Steam overlay and then look at it like frame by frame, basically. So you'll be able to.
Oh, that's a lot of fucking work. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, no, I have it on and I didn't do it. Every time I skipped the dialogue, I was like, well, it's gone to history if you're going to design that.
Yeah, I don't know. Most of what I want to say about gameplay is in the question. Outside of that stuff, I felt like it was mildly better than the last episode, but still not great.
Yeah, that's also what I wrote in my notes. I was hoping that episode 2 would be more of an evolution of what episode 1 was, but it felt like it was just mostly the same, but polished and less tedium because it didn't have bullshit like the TV world.
I don't think it was most of the same. I do agree that it was more polished, but I think that it's more character focused, obviously, than more like world building focused.
Yeah, I guess I was talking strictly of like gameplay and the way that you interact with the game and how you control the character and stuff, and the way that the inventory worked and all that was just like exactly the same as the first game, basically.
I wouldn't even say it's more polished. I would say it's the same.
Yeah, that's
it's
fair.
the same, but you didn't have to do tedious horseshit like try to dodge things with fucked up hitboxes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that counts as polished to me because I feel like it shaved a lot of the rough edges off from the first game by just not including. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree. I got a question for you guys, in that, like, do you think that if the game had like disturbing macabre mini games, like for self-harm with Charlotte, or like shaking Vincent at the end during like the table, like on the table during the ending, do you think that would have been like a sick thing to do, or do you think it would have been like too much or like too fucked up?
My opinion, I guess, I don't know, I might have to flesh this out a little bit, but I don't feel like this game treats that stuff with enough seriousness to be doing stuff like that. But in terms of like the tone that it's setting, I guess that would be kind of cool, yeah.
I wouldn't agree that it doesn't take that stuff seriously. I just think I think it deals with a lot of that stuff very clumsily. It's not that it's not serious, it's just clumsy.
Yeah. It's written by a teenage girl.
Yeah. Very much like Tumblr-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like I given how it's treated in the rest of the game, I wouldn't want something like that added.
I mean, I mostly thought of this question for Ben because I know Ben hates minigames.
Sorry, I didn't catch the question because I was distracted by this research that I was doing on the side related to Etheraine and her like library of work.
So basically, like if for like the self-harm segments, if there was like disturbing macabre mini games in it, like how would that have affected your experience? Like if you basically had to like commit the self-harm via like gameplay mechanics.
Okay, I see what you're saying. I don't think it would bother me at all, and I kind of talk about it like, I mean, it's technically like art and UI, but it's also related to a question that was asked in episode 1. So I guess I want to revisit it. It was something about like if the art or like the visuals could disturb me, or if they did disturb me. And I think that when I played through episode 2 this time around, I kept that question in mind. I was just paid attention to like usually like the full screen arts of like the more disturbing sections, and seeing if they would ever bother me. But maybe me being vigilant about that made them extra not bother me. You know what I mean? So I guess the answer to your question is no. I don't think it would have changed anything for me. It wouldn't have upset me or bothered me.
I think if there was something like a little bit less straightforward like that, like I don't know, like a mini game where you reach your hand into like a Halloween jack o' lantern like thing full of candy, and you find out later you did not get candy, but it was actually like someone's fucking intestines or like something like that. You know, where it's
Hmm.
like it's not like graphic with it, but there's like that. You know, it's again dealing with that contrast between the reality of what's happening and what she's actually seeing. Something
Yeah.
along those lines, I think would be cool.
Yeah, and another thing that I always have to keep in mind is that I haven't really played a lot of RPG Maker games. I know about them, but like I don't haven't really like experienced a lot of them other than like Undertale, really. So I don't know like what kind of like the standard is for fidelity and stuff like that.
For the
But
record, Undertale's game maker.
yeah, I know it's Game Maker. Yeah, that's true. But
Similar
it looks
aesthetic to RPG
I guess
Maker.
that's what I meant is like it looks like an RPG Maker game.
True. I mean, Game Maker
Um,
is basically just RPG Maker, but like a little more high class. It's almost the same thing.
yeah. Yeah, and that's what I was just wondering because like going back to like the episode one, Tash, it was I think specifically about the visuals and her style didn't change, and thus my reaction to the disturbing content hasn't changed. I guess to summarize, I'm not sure if that is directly answering your question or not, because I'm not sure what you meant by like self harm. Because I guess I'm not sure what section of this game that refers to exactly.
So basically, it's a moment in the bathroom where either I think she cuts herself, and if not, like she alludes to it. Um, and kind of my idea for how it would be implemented would be like you fight spiders or something, and then you find out that like you were cutting your arms instead
Oh, okay.
I
to
mean, I
go in with
think
like the schizophrenia thing.
I think that this game definitely like goes to lengths to like allude to self harm.
Yeah,
I mean, like there's the picture at some point of like her holding her arms out, and there's like
yeah,
a bunch of flower blooms and
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, and I think a character specifically like mentions like cuts on her arms, right? Maybe it
yeah.
was
That's
even her
Henry.
herself. Oh yeah, it
Because
was Henri.
Henry like has a box cutter that she pulls out in some of like her sprites. So yeah,
I guess my take on your question though, Jordan, is I would have liked if there was like something there to like justify its existence as a game. I mean, I know that we've talked about this time and time and time and time and time a fucking again, but this I think was like one of the first games where I felt solidly in the this should have just been a visual novel camp.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
yeah. I have to apologize. I was so high. I just realized what your question really was. I would have enjoyed literally anything that would have made this thing more of a game. I'm sorry.
I a lot of like a lot of what I want to say in relation to that is just related to the answer I have to the second question. But like, yeah, it's just kind of splitting the difference between being a game and being a visual novel, and I did not like it for that reason.
Yeah, I actually wrote that in my notes, but I didn't talk about it because the stuff that I was researching on the side, I was trying to like make this whole thing about like what I assumed Etheraine's intentions were, but instead like the only part of it that can be salvaged is revisiting Seth's question from like a previous episode where you were talking about whether or not X game would be better as a visual novel. And while I think episode 2 justifies itself well enough to be an RPG Maker game still, it does kind of stretch it to the point where I actually went to her itch.io and I saw that the last game she made wasn't in RPG Maker. It was in this thing called Bitsy, which I'd never heard of until today. But AI Overview says that it is specifically designed for users with minimal or no programming experience. It is a web-based game-making tool that runs entirely in your browser, and games can be created from start to finish within its user-friendly interface. And the game in question is called Mr.
Mr. Ray. Yeah.
Rayner's Solve It service. So like I was curious if she was even feeling maybe that she was like plateauing with RPG Maker and just wanted to try something new maybe. But then that got thrown out the window because then I looked up her Twitter and she's talking about in 2025 maybe like a game that she's working on that I think is RPG Maker.
Huh.
Or at least specifically she says she wants to make things that she likes, which includes writing stories and making explorable games with turn-based combat. I think those are her words exactly.
Yeah, and the DLC for Hello Charlotte 3, it literally is a visual novel. There's no, I don't know if it's like a Renpai game or whatever, but it is like part and parcel an actual visual novel game rather than RPG Maker.
Yeah,
It's
that's
also like super short. I think it's like 45 minutes long or something, but
yeah. I for some reason I didn't think about looking up episode 3, and I think the reason why is because I didn't know if we were going to be playing it or not, and I didn't want to like accidentally spoil myself. But
Same.
today I learned it's a visual novel.
No.
That's the
Episode
deal.
3's
Yeah, the
DLC.
DLC. Yeah, there's like a spin-off sequel for episode 3, and that's a
Okay.
visual novel.
So is there another episode 3 that's like episode 3 proper?
Yeah.
Correct. It's
Oh,
called
okay,
Childhood's
gotcha.
End. It's also on Steam. It's $4.
Gotcha.
And it actually looks like the most game out of all the games that she's made, even like the 2 newer ones.
Shit, I might just have to like throw away everything I wrote about this game.
When I
don't
say
know.
most
it's,
game, I mean
it's the
it looks like
context we have.
the best like art. That
Yeah.
the Mr. Rainer's Solvent Service one that you mentioned actually looks like a game.
Yeah, I will say like even though like I did like the art in the first game, the jump from the first game to this game is fucking crazy. Uh like there are so many panels and like full screen art moments in this game that look so fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised at just the number of editions of things like that. Like even like one big thing is instead of just like the straight up character portraits, there's the entire like visual novel style pop ups that look really good.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that edition, and yeah, I mean all of the panels that she added were great.
Yeah,
So
so
by panels, I mean what you posted like that. Yeah.
like again as the background just to like reiterate this, after I played through the first game I was like that was okay, I guess I'll try the second one. And I played the second one for like 40 minutes, and there's like a few pieces of art that you get in there that made me like sit down and go, all right, we gotta play this for fucking Tash, because I thought they looked so fucking sweet. So yeah, the jump is like noticeable, so I'd be curious to see if that carries over into the third game too.
Yeah, I mean just from the Steam store page, the third game looks like it has even better art than this one.
That's good.
And it's like the art itself isn't even like this super high fidelity, like super fucking like detailed thing. I think she just does a really good job of creating like emotive like set pieces, which is I mean really what this whole game really is.
Yeah.
There was
She's
one
definitely got a creative
thing.
brain.
Yeah, and there was one thing that was different about episode 1 and episode 2 that I was wondering if anyone had more insight in. Um, so you have access to that item called the Book of Truth, and it's kind of like a lore encyclopedia for the game. And I remember because I saw episode 2 first because I accidentally played episode 2 first, and I remember seeing the Book of Truth and what was in it, and then I remember looking at episode 1, and I remember that it had similar information, but they were very different because, and I'm just gonna paste this link real quick. Like I was wondering if I mean I assume it has something to do with Charlotte, but I was wondering why her Book of Truth in episode 1 was so like sophisticated compared to episode 2 where it's more of like a childish sketchbook, and maybe it's a reflection of her state of mind maybe, but that's just like I guess surface level, and maybe it is that simple. I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't even bother to like compare the two, but you're definitely right.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm not sure if there's a design reason behind it. I think
yeah,
this might be teenage girl syndrome.
Yeah,
I
maybe it was
mean,
just the way she wanted to draw it at that exact moment that she drew it.
exactly. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. I don't think there was a rhyme or reason to it. I think it was just what she wanted to draw
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah, I mean like the first one is like pen ink work kind of things, right? And then the second one is like colored pencil kind of work. So I think it literally might just be like I got these cool colored pencils to draw. Let's do some drawings.
Yeah, I didn't even think about pointing out the obvious in that episode 2 is colored and the other one is
Yeah.
just monochrome.
Yeah, so that was I figure we could just segue out of gameplay unless you
Yeah.
guys have anything to say, because
I'm
what is
sorry.
there to say?
I thought we were already in art and UI.
Yeah, no, I mean,
No,
there's
yeah,
What
nothing
we
to
were
say.
talking about.
Yeah, I was
There's
just
nothing else to
making
say.
that like fully known, but yeah, I felt like in terms of like the art, UI, music, everything was better than the first game. Like in some cases by leaps and bounds, like the music I thought was way better.
Oh yeah,
I
I
thought the
definitely wanted to mention the
environments,
music.
the environments for me were much better, and I think that's where, at least from my perspective, that's where like most of the polish and improvements were the environments.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
see, I have a like ambivalent take on that, I guess, which is that pound for pound, I think the second game has better like environmental art. But I think the peaks of the first game are way higher, and I
Yeah,
think
I
some
agree.
some of that is maybe just that the second game has a lot fewer environments, like way fewer. You just go to less places and see less shit around,
Yeah,
like in the
I
world
mean
around you.
that's definitely true, but something that kind of surprised me is there's a couple areas you only go to like once that I thought looked really good, like the when you go to school for the first time and you can't use the warp cube and you're walking through that section and it's all the like giant like legs and feet behind you. Like, that
Yeah,
entire environment looked great, but you only go there once.
yeah, I actually love that part. That's a really, really good like environmental art asset IMO.
Yeah, I feel like this game de-emphasized environments because I think the first game that's kind of like almost what felt like the focal point. And this game felt more just like on like character development and focuses on like the character shots.
Yeah, I agree.
But no bounds were made towards accessibility that I'm aware of. So
Yeah,
still bad.
I would say the same. It's literally the same thing. It's the same issue.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely no improvement in that regard.
Which is it's kind of surprising still, but whatever.
one thing I will say is that the art is general. It was good enough that it made me actually do the combat because I noticed that sometimes you got full art as drops, and that's really the only reason I did it. I don't know if I got them all, but um, yeah, was that literally the only purpose of the combat was to collect the art?
I don't even know that
Probably.
there were drops.
Kind of sounds like it.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the combat was like I interacted with it the first couple times, and then I just clicked escape every time after that.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from when I had Henri in my party,
Yeah,
because
she one shot those bitches.
your fucking one-shot move being called blackmail is awesome.
I don't even
Wait,
think I got a
I never
fight.
even read that shit. I should have. I should have paid more attention. All I did was just press A over and over again until the battle was over.
Yeah, every single that was the exact same for me. Every time I was in combat, just enter, 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 enter. I didn't even know that I had party members. Maybe I just like RNG'd and didn't get combat when I had party members, but
You
literally
only
did not know that.
have a party member like one time, and it's very brief.
Yeah, that's funny. I didn't even know. But the combat was definitely just enter, enter, enter.
Or ZZZ for non-plebs.
You guys just want to jump to the narrative?
Yeah, I don't think I really have anything else.
Yeah, I didn't really have much else to say about the art and UI because it's kind of like a rehash of the first game
Exactly.
mostly.
Yeah, like I feel like I just have like there's a reason I didn't say much in the channel. I just don't have a lot to say about this game because it would just be my feelings from the first game, just modified slightly in different areas. It's not doing a whole lot different from the first game, and what it is doing different, I didn't really like the combat.
I mean, I think that the narrative is like different enough that it's like, I mean, this is like the meat and potatoes section of the game, I guess, and it's definitely very, very, very fucking different from the first game, at least in the way it's like presented to you, the player.
Yeah, I felt like it was a lot more focused and um, a lot more character focused, as you guys would say. Like, even though there are some themes on it, I felt like it definitely took a backseat.
It's definitely like a more character-driven story, but it's still kind of like amateur hour in terms of like the beats that happen because like that bitch killing herself in the beginning did nothing to anything.
Yeah, like one thing. So I actually liked the narrative in the first game way more than the second game. I don't know if that's like a hot take, but um, what I liked so much about the first game is something that I talked about a lot when we were talking about that game, which is like the layers of abstraction in that game. And like it fucking oozed from every orifice in that game. Like the visuals, the dialogue, the characters, like there are all of these like metaphorical backdrops that kind of served as like its own bit of complex narrative. But I felt like this game was way more like how do I want to put it? Young millennial or older Gen Z on Tumblr angle. Like
I agree
is
with
Yeah,
that.
really how I
exactly.
Yeah.
feel about it. And I felt like even though like there were like Etheraine can write. Like let's not get it twisted. She can definitely write, and this is definitely something that was produced by someone who was like younger. But so much of the story I felt like was so on the nose when nothing else is on the nose. Because like one of my favorite sections from the first game is the Tale of the Ink Princess. I don't know if you guys like bothered reading that whole thing, but it's the way that she was like explaining the themes of like what that game was supposed to be about was through those like 1920s silent film intertitle cards or whatever, and that was how you were meant to like suss out that okay, this game is about abuse and trauma and isolation and like all this other shit. It didn't need to like beat you over the head that that's what it was about, because if you just interface with that Tale of the Ink Princess and like kind of let it mollify in your brain a little bit, you would like come out of it like, oh, okay, I get it. Whereas this game just constantly is just bludgeoning you with anxiety pills, socialization, anxiety, like all this other shit. And it's like, I get it. You don't have to tell me so many times. I get it.
Yeah, like my feeling is that this game overall felt way more cohesive, and what I mean by that is that like maybe she took some feedback from the first game, or she like looked a little bit more into game theory or whatever the hell, and was like able to kind of bring everything closer together, but by doing so definitely reduce the complexity of everything, including the narrative. And I absolutely agree with the last point you made, because I don't know. I just felt like I had nothing to actually think about by the end of the game. Like, at least with the first game, it ends with the cool like Pythian sequence with the TV, and that's got something to chew on. But it feels like even though everything is so incredibly abstracted in this game, I still am just left with. I guess maybe it's a question for you guys. I don't know if I'm just completely uninterested in the narrative, or if it's actually just not giving me anything to think about.
I think it's just did you like the characters or not? Because it's not. It doesn't seem like it's really trying to give you something to think about as much as it is trying to like show the relationships with Charlotte and her classmates.
I think the first game gives you a lot to think about. I thought like that's one of the things that I liked about the first game. Whereas yeah, I would agree this was much more of like a like focused effort
Yeah,
on who Charlotte is as Etheraine's like self-insert character, whatever kind of shit.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is a weird take that just kind of like illustrates me as a weird person, but like the only time I ever felt anything in episode 2 was the full screen art of Henri tearing up in the endings, like depending on like the endings you chose. Like that one frame is the only time where I like felt like literally anything. I didn't really actually care about Charlotte or C at all, to be honest.
Yeah, no, like I'm gonna be honest, I feel the same way. And obviously we're kind of touching on question one here, so maybe we'll just fucking talk about it. But um I read so many people who were talking about how like this game changed my life. I was sobbing by the end of this game. And I just felt like Ben playing Expedition 33 where I was just like,
Mm.
what are you fucking talking about? I get it. Like none of this went over my head. Like Charlotte is a high school student who's isolated and bullied and mentally extremely unwell, and she finds a lifeline in Vincent slash C to like kind of help with her low self esteem to, or at least give her like an anchor. And it all kind of gets stripped away from her at the end, but it's like it it didn't earn it. It didn't earn it is I guess the main crux of
Yeah,
it.
and also wanted to like highlight something that you said in the last section where you were talking about the environments of the first game. There's like high points, and I agree with that. And it also ties in with that narrative beat that Seth talked about earlier with the Pythian dying in the first game with the TV. Like that section in the Slaughterland section that's like uses a lot of orange and negative space. Like those were way more, that entire part of the game was way more memorable to me than the entire ending sequence with the trial and all that in this game. I thought it was like I thought the endings were like cool and novel, but they were just cool events that involved the characters that I don't really care about.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing about the environments too. I think you're kind of talking narrative, but even with just the environments, the only like area that I actually remember in this game as being interesting was that one I mentioned with all the feet in the background or whatever. But like the school was completely boring to me. I didn't think that the garden, even though it was like a little bit more aesthetically different, like it didn't stand out. None of the like stuff when you're walking around the sea before you're given the option to kill yourselves or whatever, like that stuff. Again, it's like it's aesthetically different, but it's just not standing out to me as cool or good or interesting like the ending section that you're talking about from
Yeah,
the first game.
it's interesting because it's like now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, it's like it seemed like the one place where she being Etheraine like really like reined it in and didn't like pile on a lot of like weird abstract shit is in the school. Like the garden, like sure, in terms of the aesthetics, it looks different, but it's much more minimalist than like anything, which for being the school of a anxious schizophrenic teenage girl seems like it's like weird for that to be the choice.
Yeah, like I don't know if I think this like the house felt more aesthetically complex than the school, and
Yeah,
it feels like it should be reversed for what those two things are supposed to represent.
I don't know if it should be reversed, but they should definitely both be crazy, especially since it's a schizophrenic chick who's not on her pills.
Well, because like the house, at least in part, is supposed to represent like kind of ignorance of reality, or like how do I say it, uh, like a safe place. You know, all our friends are there. They don't backstab you or anything like that. Nothing crazy happens there. Like that's the safe place. You don't need like crazy fucking flesh monsters all over the place like you did in the first game because
Sure, yeah.
like that anxiety is coming from the school this time.
Yeah, that's kind of like that's where I'm at with it too. Is like the house is her safe place where she's got all of these like wacky friends who like actually treat her super well. Like even though you get like the backstory of how they barged in or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
But when she goes to schools, when like shit goes crazy, but like the actual like visuals behind that don't really seem to coalesce with that.
Yeah, and I like yeah, and I still just kind of mean it from like the kind of narrative perspective too of like I don't feel like those areas are really uh, conveying much to me from a tone perspective in the school. Like for as aesthetically unique as the garden is, for example, like with the pink background and everything, there's just nothing to really chew on there that is evoking garden to me or whatever.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, it's yeah. Go ahead, Jordan.
I was just gonna say I think that just goes into what we already said of like well, at least for me, I think the environments are flatter in this game than they are in the first game. I don't know if that's by design or oversight or I think really she was trying to tell a more traditional story in this, and which I think that she did, but I think she also lost a lot of like interesting things that she did in the first game by trying to go the more conventional route.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to me, it's weird because I feel like it was a very intentional choice because there's still like plenty of fucking weirdness, right? Like anytime you're
Yeah,
outside of the school, there's a lot of weird shit. Like when you go off on your fucking little adventure with Vincent, like you go through those like city streets and like you talk to fucking cockroaches trying to sell you drugs or whatever.
yeah,
Like there's still a lot of like high strangeness. It's just like the school where you spend the majority of the game in is where it all kind of like I don't know, sits in a place of normalcy or at least normal for the game anyway.
yeah. There could definitely be like fucked up rooms and shit in school and everything, but there just isn't.
Yeah, like the extent of the, like, I guess stuff that stood out to me as being weird in those areas is like how the teacher speaks backwards, which was just annoying and nothing else. Like then outside of that, there's just events that happen, like the Mad Cat's dying or whatever.
So I got a question for you guys. What do you think? What do you think of the actual story in the game? Like outside of the metaphor and everything else.
I liked that it was easy to follow for the most part. I didn't require an AI overview for the plot synopsis, but like I also feel like I just revised my opinion of this game entirely in like the past like 3 minutes listening to you guys talk. So like
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not like. Here's what I can say: when I'm playing a game that I don't like, I'm happy when the story is easy to understand. I'll put it that way.
I think it's better than the first game, but it's like only marginally better. And I think it's just because I think what you said earlier, Tom, is like super valid in that both of these games, to me, don't spend enough time like existing to be able to get like the credit that it needs to kind of go over the topics that it does. Like I don't think there's a lot of gravity behind things that happen in either of these games because they're like a 1 to 2 hour experience and they don't like have time to like build up or anything. It's just kind of like things immediately.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Like it's kind of disappointing because it's like I said, I genuinely think that she is a talented writer. I just think that she needed to bake this script like way more and like and I don't know, I don't want to like fucking scope creep her own game, but I do wish that there was like way more like dialogue to like flesh out certain aspects of like who these people are and like make me give more of a shit about them. Like why was I supposed to care when this Scarlet girl jumped off the roof and killed herself or whatever? It's like I don't even know who that is. Like sure, it's sad a high school girl jumped off the roof,
Yeah.
but like what there's no stakes.
There's no
I'm playing a
stakes and it
fucking
doesn't
video
even come
game.
back up. So like it's literally just like a thing. Like, yeah.
But yeah, like I said, it's just frustrating because I can tell that she is a good writer and knows what she's doing. It's just I don't think it didn't seem like she tried hard enough, I guess, is the way I kind of read this game. At least from the perspective of the writing,
Yeah,
like
I don't want to
specifically.
say like she didn't try hard enough because I mean I don't want to just like this could have been fucking like agonizing for her to make, right? Like I have no idea, but I could say that it didn't feel as fleshed out compared to what I would expect from a game like this. Because again, like Lisa is like 2 years older than this game, and Lisa is like way longer, and like I don't know, I think I would just have invest a little more time and make a little bit bigger of a game, and I think you can do a lot more rather than just have these like bite-sized kind of like throwaway things.
Yeah, I mean, there's like, part of me wonders like if I was a fucking girl, right? Like, how would I view this story? Like, I am a male human being who was fucking homeschooled and never went to high school.
I
So how the fuck am I supposed to like empathize with like the high school girl
Yeah,
experience? Because I
I
don't
I can't
understand
even
it at all.
fathom even a girl like legitimately caring. Like I'd have to see like if this person hypothetically like if they exist, I want to see them because like I don't know if I could see someone like legitimately crying after playing this game. You know what I mean?
it's someone who
Maybe
it's
maybe I'm a sociopath, and that's probably true. But still,
no, I just think it's an extension of what Tom said. Like, you're not a 15 to 22-year-old girl who was bullied in high school and like couldn't fit in and like could potentially have
even
mental
then,
health issues.
even then, I don't know if they would cry after
Oh,
playing this
absolutely they
game.
would. Absolutely they
Really?
would. It would be like so relatable for sure.
I don't
Like just for the
know.
fact that like you could be like, holy fuck, like this feels like it embodies me or something. Like
Yeah, but it's
I could
not.
definitely see how it fucks people up. It's just I'm so far away from that kind
Maybe.
of person.
Yeah, maybe it's just like that plus the combination of like the way the game looks. I don't know if I don't know. maybe I'm just too out there, and you're right.
Yeah, and I mean, I think like what the game is trying to say kind of like supersedes just being like a generic like awkward high school drama or whatever. Like I forget what's the fucking, because like clearly one of the themes of this game is that like uh like happiness is a construct that some people will just never attain, like ever. I think is a big point that this game is trying to say, and it's kind of hammered home by, I forget what the Steam page like description for this game is, but that is basically part and parcel like what it says. So like the game is still trying to do some like heavy lifting beyond just like I'm a girl and I'm isolated and bullied and this sucks and I'm off my pills. But I do think that like there's certainly like a fucking um autobiographical nature to this game. Like I would be
Oh
fucking
yeah.
shocked if that was not the case. And I mean, I think that will always alter the way that you
Yeah, for sure.
approach someone's work, like for better or for worse. Because like intimacy breeds familiarity, familiarity breeds contempt, and contempt can make for some fucking hacky ass writing sometimes.
Do we know how long the third game is?
I think each game is like an hour longer than the previous one, so at least according to how long to beat, I think like the first game is 2, this
Does this
game
game
is
take you
3,
guys
the
3
next
hours to
game is
beat?
4, I think.
Okay.
I didn't actually
No.
check. I also left it on.
I think it was like an hour and a half. My Steam says like two
Oh
and a half
yeah,
hours
I
because I
forgot
played the
about that. I
first
played the
45
game
minutes, but I restarted.
1.5 times. My playtime clocked in at 4.5 hours.
Yeah, I think mine's 2.2 hours, but I think I spent 40 minutes trying to resize the window.
Is that even possible? Because I think the answer is no, right?
You can use borderless window to make it borderless window, but I couldn't figure out a easy way to make it just bigger without being full
No.
screen.
Yeah, that was my experience. It was just windowed or
Yeah, I
full
don't know.
screen, and by windowed I meant like an inch.
Yeah. That's what I played in.
Yeah.
'Cause I
320
won't be
by
able to full screen.
240.
Even like borderless window, it stretched it like too much. Where I was like, nah.
Yeah, I ate a gummy, I launched the game, I pressed Alt Enter and was like, I never want to have to
That
launch this
I
game
just
again,
realized
so I'm just
that
gonna play
playing
until
the
it's
game like the
done.
way I did, where it was literally looking at a Tamagotchi window, that might affect the way that I feel about the narrative and how it can punch me. You know what I mean? I feel like
That's
I
true.
don't know. That's got to be part of it, right?
I agree.
I mean, yeah, I feel like you probably should have played this game full screen personally, just to like kind of more immerse yourself in what is a very
Yeah,
goofy
it's
ass
too late for that
story.
though. Because like the main problem with playing this game and the last game full screen is that if like after you're done and you close the game, everything is fucked up in Windows.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a fucking pain in the ass, but it's a brief pain in the ass.
Yeah, Bren, you can use it's an app called Borderless Gaming, I think is what it's called, and it will it'll just stretch a window to be a borderless window experience.
Yeah, I just Googled it. I'll try it out.
If you played it on a 4K monitor, it probably looks like dog shit because it just stretches it. So it would probably look fucking terrible.
But I'd be able to alt tab, and that's like the most
Oh yeah,
important thing.
yeah, exactly.
Well, what do you guys got as far as the narrative goes?
I wrote, as for something that hasn't been said yet, I wrote decidedly postmodern, not meta modern.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I kind of already like mentioned it. I mean, I like that there's like a character focus a little bit more, but like really like Felix basically doesn't exist anymore and all that shit. But yeah, that's kind of going into your question.
Yeah, I guess I also want to go on the record because I think in the section about when we started this section about narrative, I think I said that I thought that that episode 2 had a better story than 1. I think I completely reversed that opinion. So
Go
basically, I
on.
agree with Thomas. It's just I just keep thinking about it. Like I keep thinking about like how much more memorable and punchy, like the whole Pythian Oracle merging into you was in the first game, and how
Yeah.
cool it was, and how I'll always remember it. And then the trial in this game was like just
Yeah, fell a
Like,
bit flat.
I'm envisioning the environment in my head, and it's like maybe it's too much. I wouldn't describe it as good looking. I did like the full screen Henri like tearing up. Like I thought that was good, but everything else was I don't know. I just didn't give a fuck compared to the
Yeah,
first game.
I mean the
And
climax of this game is way
and
worse.
I do feel like that is a double-edged sword of that character focused story is that it's easier to understand, but if you don't care about the characters,
Yeah.
that's not good.
I mean, I
I
think it's
feel
also
like
just a terrible climax too. Go ahead, Seth.
yeah, I just feel like all of the like reveals or twists or whatever, if you want to call them that, of all the characters are all like they're all just very like I don't want to say shocking. That's not exactly what I mean, but they just kind of come out of nowhere in the way that they're presented. Like for example, Henri kissing Charlotte, or like a bunch of the stuff with C. Yeah, there's like hints and foreshadowing for a lot of it, I guess, but even then, when a lot of those narrative moments happen, they're just so out of left field that I still don't care. And there's no moments like the ending of the last game where there's like a feeling of reverency. It's all just I don't understand why I am supposed to care, I guess.
Yeah, part of me wonders if just the entire like RPG Maker motif is something that just like falls super flat with me because like even outside the scope of this game, when I think about something like To the Moon, right? I don't know if you guys have played that, but that's like one of the games that everyone's always like, "Oh my god, I was a sobbing fucking mess after I played this game." Ah, but I played that shit and I thought it was just fucking boring. Like, sure, the actual story beats are like emotional, but like I feel, and this is probably a fucking like sub 80 IQ take, that I feel like RPG Maker is just not a good way to try and tell a super emotional story.
Okay, I have a kind of related question, kind of broad question, and I might just like not be thinking of anything right now, but have you guys ever played a game that has no actual gameplay, or at least like a similar level of gameplay as this game or the previous episode, where you like actually felt stuff? I
One
really
shot.
can't think of a
I
one shot.
can. I'm playing one right now. It's called Fate Stay Night.
Do visual novels count?
But, yeah, well, you said similar
No,
amount of
no.
gameplay, and it has like almost zero. But okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I
If,
don't know
like
then. I don't know.
I guess I'm looking for like kind of a weird in between, which is where this game is, where like
Yeah.
it doesn't have gameplay, but it's not a
I
visual
mean,
novel.
1000X Resist
Does the Thousand X
doesn't
resist?
have any fucking gameplay, but that game is
That's
very
true.
emotive.
But it could. Yeah, and I was also just thinking about that when I was talking about like not caring about the characters makes the story like less resonant. And I was remembering how Sesh, I think you said you didn't like really care for the characters, right, in Resist, and that like kind of like maybe colored uh your opinion of the narrative.
Um, I mean, I like them. I think they got worse as the game went on.
Okay, so it's different than this
Yes,
than okay.
I liked them at the beginning, but that because like I thought Fixer was cool at the beginning, and then like got worse later. So yeah,
It's kind of just a question I'm thinking about, where like all these like super emotional games that I love also like they would stand alone with their narratives, but then they have really good gameplay to boot. You know, your Expedition 33s, your Last of Us, your Automatas, and like even something like Undertale, that like the combat, the gameplay in that game is actually like fucking phenomenal, especially on like the genocide runs, or like the genocide or pacifist are both really. It's all just good gameplay, and I don't know. I'm just thinking about that, where it feels like a lot of these games that try to be games but aren't actually games kind of fail in their narrative because they don't have that gameplay, and I'm trying to put my finger on why.
And maybe I don't know. Maybe they're just not because they're just too Edith Finchy, maybe, and that's just the way it
Yeah,
goes.
yeah, Edith Finch is where my head jumps
Yeah,
with some of
I
this
mean, the
too.
only exceptions to that I can think of are 1000 Times Resist and what's that other one? Firewatch. Firewatch was good.
I thought Firewatch was kind of bland.
It is.
Yeah,
It
and
is
also
definitely
I
a little boring. It's definitely not as good as 1000 Times Resist.
It started good and ended terribly, is what I think of that game.
Yeah, I don't want to go off
But
his tangent, but yeah.
to answer your question directly, Seth, like One Shot is the only game I could think of. It's an RPG Maker game that's like an adventure game, not an RPG Maker game. So you kind of just like walk around a world.
I remember playing a little about that game. I thought that game was like super puzzly, or is it literally just a walking sim?
I thought that game definitely
I
had
think of it
puzzles.
like a point and click. It's like I think of it like a point and click though. There's no like gameplay really.
I mean, it kind of depends on the point and click. Like, I wouldn't call Excavation of Hobbs Barrow in this range of what I'm talking about. That game's definitely just a point and click adventure game, which
Yeah,
it might be a little bit pedantic, but
I mean, yeah, because One Shot isn't point and click; it's RPG Maker, but like it's really just kind of like a point and click style in RPG Maker of
Okay.
like A to B, B to C, C to D, bring item A to B, shit like that.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
think One Shot qualifies for what Seth's talking about though, just because it's got some
I don't think anything does
weird
that.
like spin on puzzles in that game, like having to fucking like drag your window out of the way to like see a code behind it or whatever the fuck. Like
Mhm.
there's that One Shot
And-
gamifies itself significantly more than the games we've been talking about, in my opinion.
I haven't played One Shot, so I can't really like put my finger there. Like, Amori is close to what I'm talking about, but the like actual gameplay in that game is actually great. So
I was gonna say there's so much gameplay to Mori.
Yes,
I think One Shot is the closest thing without going into like visual novel territory.
well, anyway, I will take this and Thousand Times Resist as counterexamples of this thought pattern I was going down.
but I mean, I do agree with you, like in spirit, because I think that, um, like I said, I think RPG Maker games just like probably get in their own way a little bit because like they have to do kind of weird, like immersion ruining shit at times to present like an emotional narrative, and I feel like you are bound by the fucking like limits of a RPG Maker text box, much in the same way that like a Super Nintendo Final Fantasy game would have been. That it's just hard to put like meat on a story that way. And I think in tandem with like the low like word count, just straight up word count that you can get in there alongside the way that stuff's presented, it just kind of doesn't it doesn't work for me. I guess is just the long and short of it.
Yeah, like the closest. Like, it took a lot of work for Toby Fox to do what he did in Undertale. I guess is one way of saying that. Like, he had to make those characters fucking likable for that to actually work.
I think that it being longer, like significantly longer, helps a lot in that respect, right?
Yeah,
True.
Yeah, big time.
and also like the gameplay of Undertale is really like the giant hook of that. I think if that game was like a visual novel, I think people would like it, but they wouldn't like it as much as they do because like the gameplay is super unique.
Yeah, because like
That's
I
true.
think one thing I could say about this game is that I do think that if she had taken this game and like blown it up in size to where there's a lot more prose, there's a lot more areas, there's I mean even just a like teensy bit of gameplay in it, I think this game could have gone somewhere like really really fucking good. But the fact that it's just
Oh
kind
yeah,
of like this 3 hour bite-sized thing uh, speaks for itself, I guess.
Yeah, it's starting to feel more and more evident that having them all episodic is starting to become a detriment.
Yeah, that's true. I
I think
wonder what it would have been like if you just jumped from like one, like if it was just Hello Charlotte and you just go from 1 to 2 to 3, like just all bam, bam, bam.
Yeah. One thing that would make a big difference for me, I don't know if it would make a big difference, but like I I didn't care about Felix and that made me feel like maybe I'm just a crazy person that's horrible. But like even after playing the first game, I was just like, whatever.
I mean, I at least like if you make a character and you make them a little bit funny, a little bit sassy, that's like enough for me, to care about them. I guess it doesn't go too much deeper than that. Like, I'm not gonna cry when he gets his head blown off or anything, but I can at least be like, oh, he's not gonna be giving his sassy one-liners anymore. That's too bad.
I don't know, it was
Like,
just
I
so
feel
weird
like I'm
to
missing
me.
something, I guess.
Yeah, like I felt like I was disassociating or something because I thought that playing through episode 1 would give me like a different impression of him because like he was just so significant in the first episode,
Yeah.
far more so than I gave him credit for when I was playing through episode 2 the first time before episode 1. But replaying episode 2, and maybe it's because I was playing through the same stuff again. I felt like I wasn't emotionally giving Felix the credit that he probably deserved, and I guess maybe the fact that I didn't means that he didn't deserve it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that just goes down to like the length of the game, right? And you don't spend enough time with these characters, so like the game basically tells you that like Charlotte cares about these characters, but it never shows you, so you don't care as a player.
Yeah, and I guess
Yeah,
it's
like, and let me put it this way too, because like we're saying this a lot about how short the game is, but I think a lot of this would get fixed if all of the characters in the house were just one character. You know, and then you
Would
have like
definitely
plenty
help.
of time. Yeah, you just have plenty of time to sit with that character instead of like all these fucking different characters instead.
Yeah,
I
I
can
think
see
the idea
that.
is really you're supposed to only care about Charlotte. Sorry, go ahead, Tom.
No, I was just kind of agreeing with Seth. I don't know that you could necessarily merge all of the characters into one character, but you could probably get pretty close. 'Cause, like they all
I mean, I
serve
think
different roles, I guess is why I say that.
yeah, and I think that would also be extremely tough to do. Yeah, because they all serve different roles, and they're like, how do you even begin to do that? Especially within like a 2 hour window. Like, I don't think it's a accessible task.
Yeah, because like
I don't know. I'm not trying to like rewrite the game for her or anything. I'm just saying I felt like it was stretched a bit thin while also having a short game.
Yeah, I think the first game. I think the reason why you guys like the first game more because like it makes you think it has like a good climax, and this game is like more focused on characters that you don't give a fuck about. So that's why I kind of did everything worse in terms of narrative.
yeah, and I mean I think it's kind of a misnomer to say that I don't give a fuck about any of them, because I mean I did give a fuck about them. It's just I didn't give a fuck about them to the degree that the game wanted me to.
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I cared enough to like follow the journey and understand it all that, but not enough to tear up or
Yeah.
even come close to that.
Not enough to feel bad that when C doesn't wake up on the table, you feel anything. You're just like, all right, that happened.
Yeah, I definitely didn't care about C.
Another
Yeah, exactly.
I cared about the people in the house more than C.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. And maybe it's also because I use the guide, but like finding out, maybe it's definitely because I use the guide and I saw that there were multiple endings. So like when I was going through the first ending, like I was thinking mostly about how I was gonna have to reload to get to the next ending that I maybe didn't like give it all the attention it deserved, but it was just text and images, which
Yeah, no,
again
yeah.
goes back to like the RPG Maker thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the record, I really don't think you needed a guide for this game.
Yeah, for sure. Because like, yeah, there was all it really. I didn't even need it for the puzzles. I was just too lazy to do the puzzles. But yeah, for the rest of it, there were no puzzles. You just kind of just do what you're told, basically. Just hold W.
Well, I guess if you guys want to, we can move on to the questions. But I guess I would summarize my thoughts on the narrative that I actually found it really frustrating because, like, I felt like it was right there, like right there with something that could have been like a really profoundly effective narrative if A, it was longer, and B, there was less like Tumblr prose that like
Yeah.
stripped so much narrative subtlety and like diluted it effusively with this cutesy motif, which works when its sole job is to be kind of like a mood foil, like in its kind of ironic but sincere postmodern kind of way. But I don't know. I feel like there was just way too much subtlety stripped from the game, and beating me over the head with some of the themes was just kind of annoying.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah, I'd agree for sure.
All right. Well, questions then?
Oh, I forgot to bring up the gameplay. That fucking room. That's the worst designed room I've ever been in a game.
Oh yeah, I obviously I had a different experience that I told you about where I kind of
Yours is fucked up.
bypassed it
I don't
by
even know
just
you did that.
reloading the game. All I did was I played like normal, how you expected to, then the screen turned black, and I assumed that the intent was that you were supposed to like memorize the route out. Is that correct? Or like
Nope.
without being able to see, or like I don't know how.
Maybe. I don't know if it's random or not. I would just talk to random people and eventually it worked.
Okay, so I don't know how you're supposed to actually do it, but all I did was get pissed off, closed the game, reopened it, loaded the save, and
And then yeah.
it like fast forwarded me into further into the story.
If that was like if that's how that room was, that would have been sick. If like, yeah, you just were like, I guess I'm stuck. I guess this is a bug, and then you reload and then you be forward. I think
I
that would
think
be
that's a
fucking super cool.
dangerous way to design a game
Absolutely.
because like for someone like me, that shit is like a uninstall.
Absolutely it is. But it's also interesting.
So
Yeah, that's why I don't think it was intentional. Just
Yeah, I agree.
make it official.
I'm curious what you hated so much about that room. I felt like I was in that room for like 10 seconds and then I just moved on.
Because like 2 times I got it to an unsolvable state, and you have to use a fucking item in your inventory to reset the fucking room.
Well, that's hilarious. That
And
didn't happen to me at
I
all.
wanted to fucking die.
Oh, I had no idea that there was like an actual mechanic.
Yeah, I
like
didn't either.
for that.
I just went
It's
around
actually-
talking to every person, and then I was like, okay, this is dumb, and I'm going to try and leave the room. And then it just basically let me leave the room.
Anyway, we can go on to questions.
Okay. So, question number one, which we have pretty much already covered to some degree. How do you feel like your overall connection to the characters has evolved over the course of the beginning of episode 1 to the end of episode 2? Ben, take us away.
I guess kind of like just to echo that what was mentioned earlier. I'm pretty lukewarm on them now. Maybe I've even gone down in my connection, especially with the Oracle, because like I didn't even realize that Frey was the Oracle until like they literally spelled it out for a retard like me. And but like even then, like all that made me think was like I thought like the tale of the last Oracle was like so tragic that in episode 2 that character suddenly just basically being a douchebag. I was like, I don't know if I like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
So I guess yeah.
like I asked this question like specifically because I didn't really feel like I like learned anything about the characters from the first game to the second game, which is weird because the second game took on such a more like forward facing like approach to the characters and their psychology and personalities and like who they were. Like I felt like a lot of the like metaphorical footprints that were left behind in the first game just got filled in. Like all they did was fill in the metaphorical footprints and like delivered it to me without a question in Hello Charlotte 2. So all I really did was learn things that I already figured out were like affecting these characters by virtue of sort of filling in those gaps the first time. Like so like do I feel empathetic for Charlotte and like her plight and the plight of the people around her? Sure, obviously. But do I feel like I know her or understand her issues or the issues of the people around her any better? No, not really. It didn't evolve them in any kind of way. It just spelled it out more for like what's going on.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. Especially for a game that's more like character focused. Like it didn't really do anything with it. Especially not the characters that you were introduced to in the first game. Like Ben said, I was more disconnected from all the first game characters besides Charlotte, obviously.
Yeah, the one character I did come out of this game liking significantly more was Aiden. I liked Aiden a lot. That's the guy with the deer antlers.
Yeah, the problem
Yeah,
with
I
that
agree.
is
I like Aiden.
I don't remember what he did in the first game, to be honest, if he was in there.
He was.
I mean, in the second game, all I did was he gave me like maybe a guess or a dress or whatever, right?
Yeah, he's like super
It
comforting.
takes the scissors from your hand.
Yeah, he takes the scissors, he gives you a dress, he plays piano with you. He's a homie.
I guess who's the Umbrella Man supposed to be? Is that supposed to be like her dad?
I don't know, that's what I was wondering too. I was thinking
I
it's
think, yeah, I think I don't know who said it or if a character said it or if it was like Charlotte describing it, but I think there was a line of dialogue that said that he, at some moment, resembled her father.
yeah, I think I mean my takeaway is it's some like abusive figure in her life and I think it's probably meant to allude to her dad, but I'm not sure.
I feel like that's kind of like the whole, like a gigantic point of the game is like, yeah, that guy's role in Charlotte's
Oh,
life.
yeah.
But I'm like, I don't fucking know what the fuck.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're really supposed to know what the fuck either. Like, I mean, like the ending of the game is kind of part and parcel
Yeah.
of that. What did you think, Seth?
So I have this thing, and you guys can push back against this if you want, because there might be a lot of counterexamples that I'm not thinking of. I have this thing that I really hate in movies, TVs, games, whatever, and it's when you have a good character, as in like a character who is like the good guy, you know, a protagonist, whatever, and it's when the entire show, movie, game, whatever, becomes about nothing but tearing that guy the fuck down for no reason. The moment I realized I don't like this is when I watched Breaking Bad for the first time and what they start doing to Jesse in the later seasons. I'm just like, this is just torture porn. I don't need this. There are exceptions to that, like if they're doing it for like a strong, like if they're doing it to do a tear down arc and like an anti-villain kind of thing. Like I'm thinking of like 9S, for example. Like they tear him down so that he can kind of be the villain for the back half of the game, or whatever your interpretation of that is. I think you see what I mean. But it's just something that I really don't like unless it's being done for a really good purpose, where like this bad thing happens to this person and they bounce back up, and then another bad thing happens and they bounce back up, and another thing happens, and whatever. And like where Charlotte felt like my rock in episode 1, where like all this fucked up stuff is happening, but it's not really happening directly to her exactly. She's just kind of like witnessing the fucked up stuff and reacting to it. I could still like empathize with her a bit in those moments. But then in this game, I feel like it just pivots so hard away from that, where she just turns into that torture porn exhibition that I'm talking about. And it's just like, oh, she accidentally killed the Mad Cats. Oh, her fucking best new friend or whatever is committing suicide and wants to commit suicide with her. Oh, it's just like bad thing after bad thing after bad thing. And you have to have a strong purpose if you're going to do that. And I don't feel like this game did that. And because of that, that like connection that I had with Charlotte, I feel like was completely obliterated from the first game.
Man, I could not disagree more. But there's a specific reason as to why I disagree. And that is I love stories where they take a protagonist or like just kind of a generally good human being and they just totally deconstruct them via suffering. And you asked for examples. Here's one for you right here. Fucking Evangelion is a perfect example of that, where they literally force this 14-year-old child into to be a fucking child soldier, basically, against his will, and it obliterates him psychologically, socially, emotionally, etc., etc., etc. But I think the key thing to think about in stories like that, because I can think of like 10 more examples of shit that I like that does the same thing, like fucking um, uh, Dancer in the Dark. It's a great movie. But Come and See, great movie. Regardless, though, I think one of the important things that stories like that do is they leave you with a sense of like hope at the end. So it's not just like this person getting like completely psychologically obliterated like fucking Job from the Bible or whatever, but it leaves you with like a little nugget at the end to be like, look, all of this shit happened to this person, but it's going to be okay. Like they'll come back from it. And I think that that is a very important thing, a very important component to stories like that. And I'm willing to grant this game kind of the benefit of the doubt since there's an entire third act to the story. But yeah, I mean, if the game ended, if the entire series ended on the note that it does in this game, then yeah, that's no good.
Yeah, and I guess that's why I am in the mental state I am right now with the game, because we haven't played the third game, so I'm just kind of left to sit with all of this shit she just went through for no reason.
I feel like when we do play, I assume we are playing episode 3 for the next intermezzo. Is that correct?
I mean, I'm gonna play it regardless of if you guys want to do it for this or not. But
Okay, so that's not
Yeah.
set in stone. I was just curious about that because if you do plan on playing the third one, um, this is something that I spoiled myself when I was doing research for this task. But um, you know that this game has multiple endings, but what I did get spoiled by a little bit is that there is a canon ending for like the segue from episode 2 to episode 3. And if you're curious, it is the gray ending.
is that the one where you
That's the one
don't
with
vote?
everything.
I don't remember. All I know is that it was called the gray ending, and then I didn't read more to like not spoil myself further from like extra context. But all I remember are the words gray ending.
Ben, what in God's name does this have to do with what we've been talking about?
Fuck, I'm high. It. Oh no, I thought someone was talking about playing episode 3.
I mean, I was
Well, yeah,
just in the sense that, I think Seth's criticism, I was pushing back on Seth's criticism because we are in the middle of the story, not the end, which is how we got talking about episode 3.
Yeah, my bad. You could edit all that out.
Well, the gray end is when you vote for Henry, and yeah, it's when she eats everything.
Oh, yeah. I love that ending.
Which that's the funniest one to pick for.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I
ending.
like that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like having the hope at the end is definitely an important component to the whole like torture porn exhibition that I'm giving it. And don't get me wrong, like this, it can be done well, like I said with 9S, for example. But I don't know. Like I said, I just feel like it has to be really well done and with a very strong purpose for it to actually work.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm gonna like kind of put my own foot in my mouth and say that I also don't think that it even needs a hopeful ending because like one of the things that I mentioned was Come and See, which is a movie you should watch when you get the chance to do so. But that is not a happy movie. That is like the most depressing, downright fucked up movies, and it does not end happily. But it's still like incredible. I think it's like the number one rated movie on Letterboxd or some shit. But
Damn.
uh, I do agree that it does need to like be treated with a deft hand in order to not just come off as like sadistic. But I don't think that this game came off as sadistic.
I don't think it came off as sadistic,
Maybe
but
not.
I didn't. I didn't like that there was nothing good that happened, and I also didn't like that it wasn't as intriguing as the first one. But yeah, I mean, clearly this game was just setting up for what the third game is, so I can't really like pass judgment on it until I experience that one.
Yeah, like I guess what I'm left asking myself at the end of this game is what was all of the struggle worth? Like, what was the point of everything she just went through as of this episode? And I don't have a strong answer. And if that's the canonical ending, as my understanding is, then it doesn't feel like there was much point.
Yeah, I mean, I would, like I said, I would agree with that if it weren't for the fact that I know there's a whole other ass game.
Yeah, this was like a standalone game. This would be like the worst game ever made.
So here's another interesting question to posit. If the first game didn't exist, if this was Hello Charlotte Episode 1, how would your guys' feelings of the game have like differed without the like context and experience of the first game? And this is obviously like a purely hypothetical, but I'm curious.
I mean, I think that kind of each of the games have their own like compartment in my head anyway. Like they almost don't even feel connected regardless. So I don't think it really would change much for me.
I don't think it would change my ratings for either game at all. That's just my gut feeling.
Yeah, I don't think I would have significant changes in my feeling.
I think I actually would have liked this game a little more. Not a lot more, but maybe a little more.
I mean, it makes sense. But the two games kind of have like completely different
Is
vibes,
that
especially in the point of the writing.
is that because you'd lack context on what on what was fumbled?
I think so. I think it's just because I think what the first game did really well is something that didn't translate into this game, and
Yeah,
it kind of left a more like sour taste in my mouth. But if none of that context existed, then I wouldn't have been like holding it up to that standard.
exactly.
Anyway, I was just curious what you guys thought about that. let's get into a fun question, which I'm excited to hear your guys' take on this. So, how did you feel about the way that the game conveyed combat to you? Would the game have benefited from increasing its overall inclusion or stakes in the game? Let's start with Seth.
There's combat in this game. Haha, XD. I mean, the inclusion of combat in this game just felt incredibly ham-fisted and unnecessary. The point that it's trying to convey, where socializing is a battle. Wow, how fucking unique, could have been conveyed in ways other than I shall press enter until the game resumes. And I can't say that the game would benefit from more than that because, like, if the combat was emboldened with more to communicate that original point, or if it was removed and similar cutscenes were added to replace it, I would prefer both of those over what is in the game. Because, like I said before, I can't stand it when some of these games split the difference. Either give me a visual novel walking sim, or give me something with like actual meat to chew on with the gameplay. And if the scope that you set out for your game is such that you're not going to be able to have like complex, interesting gameplay, then just make the visual novel and I'll enjoy it more and I'll be happy with that.
What you got, Jordan?
When you say visual novel set, do you mean like the style of a visual novel, or do you just mean like kind of like what the first game would be, which is walking around in an RPG Maker game?
Visual novel and walking sims are synonymous to me, even if that's not.
What is
completely
the first? What is an RPG Maker game without RPG combat? Does that fall into one of those two?
What is an RPG Maker game? I mean, isn't that just episode 1?
That's what I'm asking. Is that a walking sim? Is that what is that to you?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I call episode 1 a walking sim. It's okay. Like, it's got like a little bit of the like puzzly stuff that might push it outside of that camp, but it's close.
Basically, visual novel is you don't move. Walking sim is you do move.
Yeah, but like To the Moon is more of a walking sim than a visual novel. I think I haven't actually played that game, but I think that's true.
Yeah,
it's definitely not a visual novel.
Yeah, no, there's the extent of the gameplay in that game is like these. I can't remember what they are. I want to call them Sudoku puzzles, but it's not Sudoku.
It's kind of Sudoku. It's close. It's Sudoku-ish. It's like Picross-ish.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, so to answer the question for me, I think it would be much better without it. I think it's just kind of an idea where I think if you were just making like a fuck off, never see the light of day project and you just show it to your friends, they would be like, oh, that's a cool thing. But I mean, I think for people in their 30s who are criticizing games every week, I think it's like an absolutely terrible addition. I think that if you make it into a better system, like a game like Amori did, then I think it's really like engaging and cool and like really memorable moments. But I don't think in the way that this game did it, it was even like remotely close to memorable, other than being like, that's weird.
Yeah, Amori is this game done right, and
yeah,
especially with the combat mechanics.
One day I'll play that game.
You might play it for this.
Yeah, maybe.
The only other thing I wanted to mention with related to that is like I feel like there was a point that was trying to be conveyed with the combat, and I'm okay with that. I just feel like if you're not going to like develop the combat into something interesting, then just make them like side encounters or whatever. Like you talk to a character and something similar plays out, but it's not the gameplay that it is in this game.
Yeah.
I didn't even consider that because what I was thinking about was like I was pretty indifferent to the combat's inclusion in this game and saw it primarily as a vehicle just to collect the art. But in that case, I was thinking about just like it would have been better if it was like the first game where they were in chests, or this medium that you just introduced that I didn't even think of, where instead of having treasure chests, like the NPCs could just be there, and like the ones that are kind of jerks when you talk to them, they begin combat. Or maybe it doesn't have to necessarily be a conflict because it's called socializing. So just maybe literally talking to every NPC in the game would trigger combat or something. But like there should have been like some kind of like I felt like, and this may be what you meant by like increased stakes of the combat, because I was thinking about that. In one of the ending sequences, someone brings up socialization specifically, where like this person's gonna die because they didn't even socialize. And I was thinking, does that mean like there's a pacifist playthrough where you can play this whole game again with escaping from every combat? And does that one line say something different? But like, I'm not gonna do that because it's this game and not Undertale. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I
So
think
like, I guess to just give like the direct answer, I would prefer if literally anything other than the combat was in this game.
it's
Yeah.
Yeah,
undercooked.
pretty much.
I think most of
Mhm.
this game I would describe as undercooked,
Yeah, so
except the art.
I have a slightly softer opinion than you guys, I think. Because like I do like the general idea of the combat in this game is like just having you in a social scenario where you have to like arbitrarily satisfy some like goal or whatever. And I think if this game had actually bothered to include like actual RPG mechanics, like replete with like boss fights and thought out random encounters and like progression and balance and blah 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 blah. I think it would have served this game significantly better because the way it's
Yeah.
included in this game is like super fucking random and really kind of jarring. Like every time I got into a random encounter, which I would estimate I got into like maybe 5 or 6 total throughout the game, it was always like, oh fuck, that's a thing. Because the fucking sound when you get into combat is loud as shit. And so I agree with the sentiment that it's undercooked. And so, like, when I was saying earlier that um, in the writing for this game or in the script, I felt like she was not putting in like maximum effort. I think that that goes even like doubly so for this combat shit. It was like an idea that she had for like 20 minutes and spent another hour putting it in the game and was like, all right, we're calling that good. And then she drew art and that was
Oh yeah.
it. So yeah, again, like I don't want to scope creep her game because I don't know how long it took her to make this, but like clearly she didn't want to spend years doing it. But yeah, just a little more something, a little more je ne sais quoi from the combat would have been extremely nice. Would have rounded a lot of like hard edges that this game has.
Yeah, I mean, you were basically almost describing like Undertale system, right? Of like, yeah, having to basically
Yep.
navigate the puzzle of how do I pacify this combat. So yeah, I mean, it would be. I just think that she's. I don't mean this like harshly, but I think she's an artist who needs to pair with other people who make games, and I think that she would be like an all timer.
Yeah, I
I don't
agree.
think she's a
Yeah.
game developer. I think she's an artist and potentially like a co-writer, but I don't think she's definitely not like a game designer.
Yeah. I mean, I think she could be a writer. I can tell from
Yeah,
this game, this is someone in their like late teens, early 20s who wrote
yeah,
this thing and like
exactly, yeah,
clearly has an eye for how to write. But I do
for
agree.
sure. Definitely, in these games, like there's definitely like talent there and everything, but it's like far away from game design. Like there's nothing even like remotely intriguing about the game design in either of these games so far, compared to like the art or like the some of the topics that she was trying to convey, especially in the first
Yeah, and
one.
I guess I'm saying like I wish that this combat, like the entire system would have been blown out and blown up. But
Yeah,
given how like little thought there is to like any of the design aspects as far as like a actual video game, capital V, capital G, I have no
yeah.
fucking idea what that end product would even look like, or if it's something I would even want.
Because like so the thing is when I asked you guys the fear and hunger question is because I literally thought of like what if that Finnish guy teamed up with this Estonian chick and then they made Fear and Hunger 3, and I think that would be an insane fucking game.
I mean, the Funger art is already crazy. I don't think that guy needs
I
help.
know, but well, I mean, it's not as like abstract as what she does, though. I don't think. I think that she would like add to some of like the crazy panels that that game has.
She needs to pair up with Logic Bomb's guy.
Matthew Matosis, someone who's just gameplay only,
Uh-huh.
That's funny.
or just like systems only. They need like a story to be written around it. Although
Can
I
you
feel like, and this is
imagine?
like a meta thing. I think that's a bad idea to make a game. I think you should have the story dictate what the mechanics are. But that's just my personal like belief, I guess, or like method.
I mean, I agree with that for sure.
I could see it either way. Yeah. I don't think that necessarily one is the right way to do it, and the other, as long as you get across the finish line the right way, regardless.
Yeah, that's fair. You do, yeah. Like I guess you can work backwards, but yeah, I don't want to like steer you guys too off topic.
No, I get what you're saying though.
Because I just think of like Mimic Logic or something like that. Like I think they made the game first, and then you can add a story on top of that.
Yeah, and that's also part two due to its like genre as well, where
Yeah.
there isn't really that requirement to be like a fucking like Lord of the Rings.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, it's the age-old like top-down, bottom-up design thing. Like
Yeah.
most Souls games nowadays, maybe not the originals, are pretty much always designed with gameplay mechanics in mind, and then they throw the story on top. You know, even maybe Elden Ring might have been like that.
I think the first Dark Souls game was very top down, or Demon Souls 2 even.
Yeah. I wasn't saying
Yeah,
for the
yeah,
original
for
games.
sure. I mean, like as they've gone, like I mean, the gameplay of those games hasn't evolved a shit ton, which afforded them
Right.
the luxury of doing more bottom up.
Yeah,
I mean, I
and
could
it's-
see bottom up for Elden Ring though, just because it's like they probably started at, all right, guys, we want to make a Souls game, but we want it to be fucking huge. Where do we start? You know?
Yeah, let's get George R. R. Martin. Step one. All right. Anything else on this bad boy? I didn't mean to get us off on a tangent talking about Matthew Artosis by just being a pithy cunt.
I mean, it would be funny if she teamed up with him though, because like imagine if he hired her for Logic Bombs, like what would she bring to that project?
Oh my
Like what would that
gosh.
game become? That game would become
Dude,
like a completely different
that'd be
You
thing.
know what
sick.
it would be? It would be like fucking Tim Fallon. Like
Yeah, exactly.
incredible,
Make it Pictionary.
like masterpieces surrounded by shit.
Her next game almost looks like, or not next game, the fucking Mr. Rainer's Solvent Service almost looks like a Logic Bomb style game, just to be like a funny parallel.
Yeah, that is something I noticed when I saw
Yeah.
like the Picross looking thing. I was like,
It's
wait,
some kind
this
of
is
like
a puzzle
grid-based-
game.
Yeah,
Maybe we
exactly.
should attach this.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea at some point for sure.
All right.
It looks like her most game, but yeah, we
Yeah. Let's we're gonna talk about that after the wrap up because I'm very curious about her body of work. But all right, third question. I'm gonna warn you now. My answer to this was very long, and I don't know how to distill it down, so I'm just gonna skim my notes. But zoom out a bit, and broadly speaking, what does quote good writing in a game mean to you? Not its effects, like the downstream effects, like characters that you like, a story that's intriguing, or whatever. I want to know what it is about the actual words on the screen that make you go, ah, that's nice. And we'll start with Jordan.
Yeah, so I mean, one big thing is not using to not fluff up the words or anything too much unless the point of the character is to be like pretentious or like fluffy wordy. So like kind of like keep things concise. And basically when I was thinking of this, I was thinking like Torment is the opposite of that, where like there's no editing. You just fucking rip every word that you could fucking think of and then throw it in there. And that's not what I want. I want the opposite, which is like Baldur's Gate 3 of like have a like a currency of words and like all those words matter. And then past that for like the character dialogue itself, like don't have every character kind of have like one voice and have everything be like flat and boring, kind of give like some like personality to like just the dialogue and everything. I think that this game kind of lacks that. I think every character kind of talks the same. I think kind of in the first game they had like a little bit more like unique voices and weirdness, especially the Pythia or whatever, Frey and Freya. Like they kind of felt different, whereas in this game they kind of just feel the same. What else? Yeah, and then I guess being funny, like just kind of have like funny, quirky things, kind of like in an Undertale style of like, kind of just have characters say like relatable or like funny quips or just like cleverness to the writing, which I think this game has none of. But yeah,
This game definitely
Oh, yeah.
has quirkiness. I wouldn't say
not in the
funniness necessarily.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think this game's clever. I don't think there's anything in this game that's clever. And if you guys can think of something,
I don't know. Depends how you define clever, I guess.
I mean, like in
Basically,
terms of dialogue, not really. I guess if that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, specifically, like every single character that you talk to in Undertale is like what I'm comparing anything in this game to. Just like cleverness, quirkiness, weirdness in that way, and like in a charming way.
Yeah, I don't think a character ever made me laugh or smile in the way that what you're describing would.
And
Yeah.
to be
That's
fair,
that's just things that I
that
like.
is like very far from this game's intent as well. So
I mean, you could still have a character that does that. You could still have some like crazy manic character. Like I don't think because this game is taking serious tones that you need to just be completely serious the whole way through. And I think that that's why something like Expedition 33 owns because it's fucking everything. It's like the whole spectrum of cool shit that happens.
yeah, sure, you gotta have a sense of levity.
Yeah.
All right, Seth.
All right. I wrote a little bit for this one. It's not going to contend with Thomas's, but I at least have a little bit. To answer the question in a word, experience. There is a numbness that can comprise your average day to day, the humdrum of work, eat, sleep, repeat. When I'm consuming any media, be it movies, games, music, or lolcow drama slop, drop the slop word, I'm looking for something to pierce that numbness and make me feel something. I like horror because it makes me feel visceral disgust. I like playing Dungeons and Dragons because I can put myself in the shoes of a character and try to feel what they would be feeling. I find that having parts of my brain be activated when they otherwise wouldn't be in the day to day I find that experience to be incredibly valuable and meaningful. It keeps me awake. It keeps me cognizant of the fact that I care about the subject matter. It makes me think of things in new ways, as taught by the presenter of the media. It gets me into those different perspectives and empathies that I just wouldn't experience otherwise. So when I'm playing a game like Expedition 33, I mean, it's obvious that the ending is going to make me feel something, that absolute catastrophic feeling you have in your heart when you pick Mael and you realize, what she does at the end of that game. The feeling that you get at the end of Outer Wilds, where it's this like simultaneous like heat death of the universe, melancholy, but combined with the new sense of hope from 6.43 billion years later, or whatever it is, 24.3. I don't remember. But yeah, I just want to experience and feel things that are unique that I wouldn't be getting otherwise in day-to-day life. I don't have much on how that actually relates to this game because I don't really feel like it did.
Yeah, I agree. I got nothing to add to
A
that.
lot less to say.
Go ahead.
I do have something to say. It's just a lot less. But at first I wanted to say that I prefer like straightforward prose that's just like easy to part, and I do think that is like generally true for me. But it's not like I don't necessarily always need like the developer just to fucking put the story in the bag. And I think a lot of like it's a case by case basis for me, and I think a lot of it has to do with presentation. And I thought about presentation specifically because in your question you talked about like literally the actual words on the screen. And as part of my job as a UI developer, that's something I care about a lot. So like, when it comes to like Hello Charlotte, like the way that she writes, I feel like it fits like her visuals very. To me, it just fits like the way that she tells her stories. Even if I didn't like this one as much this time around, like I still thought the actual prose she wrote fit visually with the presentation of the game. Whereas like something like Disco Elysium, I also really like the writing, and it's a lot different than this game. And I wouldn't say that it's like more like overly complex writing compared to Hello Charlotte, but it matches like the way that Disco Elysium looks. So like I guess it's kind of like a scale of what words I like to see on the screen, and it's the dressing around it.
Yeah, I think you actually make a really good point there, which is that um, the way that she wrote this game is very stylistically cohesive with everything around it. And that's why I keep saying that I can tell she's a good writer, because that's not easy to do. That is a difficult fucking thing to do, especially when you are in this like crazy, wacky world of abstraction that is Hello Charlotte, the fact that she does write prose that makes sense to the tone and voice of the world, like again, that's not an easy thing to do, and I do think that she does an extremely fucking good job of it.
I mean, yeah, I think she's just a like an amateur writer basically, and I think like potentially in like 10 years she could be like a Yoko Taro type, right? Like where she's just making like masterpieces. It just took a while to get there. But yeah,
No, I mean,
I think that's
I'll,
into like
I guess
highlighting.
I don't know about that,
I
'cause-
disagree hardcore.
I'll say exactly one thing, which is that like when I was in college and I was taking my creative writing workshop classes, like if you gave this game to me in a script, it easily would have been like an A+ in that class.
Oh, yeah.
I'll at least give her that.
Wait, so when you guys said you don't necessarily agree with that, what do you mean?
So I would agree in the sense of like writing like a compelling narrative to get me to
Yeah.
care, but I'm talking in going back to like the actual words on the screen. She makes the ones she writes, at least for me, like pleasant to read, and it makes sense and it fits the world and the characters.
And I think her prose is very good. Like it
Yeah.
is. It's just
Yeah, agreed.
I don't like the way in which she elected to tell the story, but the way that she wrote the story is very precise and very good.
I agree.
Yeah, I think kind of in line. I think with some of what you guys have been saying. Like I said, with the visual novel stuff, I think this game would have just been better in another medium, like that gives more breathing room for the type of stuff she's trying to convey.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, and I 100% agree because, like I was saying earlier, this is the first game where we've had that discussion where I was thinking like, yeah, this game should have been a visual novel because I think every other time I've disagreed, but this is the first time where I was like, yeah, no, this definitely could have been.
And the other funny
Like
thing is like
something.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you go
No,
ahead.
you. Fucker. Like
Yours is
something
more
I kind of
related.
noticed. Something I've kind of noticed now, like kind of reflecting on the game now, is that, but because as you guys were saying that, I was like, wait, are there any moments in this game where it's not just dialogue and she's just like describing something? And there definitely is, but I'm realizing I kind of forgot a lot of that existed because I think every time that happens, the character portraits go away. And I don't know if that is exactly the reason, but something about having those character portraits and then just having something be described, even if the prose is good, is it's going to kind of take me out of the moment, and I'm not going to like feel as strongly about what's being described as I otherwise should have been. I'm thinking specifically of like when you like reach down to C's lifeless body or whatever. I think that part is described and just I don't know,
Yeah.
like you know what
I
I'm
agree.
saying?
I agree with that. Yeah, I think she definitely like fucked up the whole like gravity of all the endings for sure. The only ending that's even like kind of cool is the gray one. The other two kind of suck.
Yeah, in my opinion, the fucking shackles of RPG Maker and her inability to program or design games worth shit is really holding her back.
What's the visual novel engine that everybody uses
Renpai?
now?
Renpi
Renpai.
or
Yeah,
Renpai?
if that did that exist in 2014?
Yeah, I'm gonna say
I'm sure it
yes
did.
because yeah,
Okay, well, I think she just fucked up.
because I
Because
think
I figured that would be a timeline thing.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like I thought like, and this is the thing when I was doing that research into like her Twitter, she explicitly says she likes turn-based combat. I think it's something she wants to do, even if it's kind of outside of her skill set.
Pretty funny. I wonder if the next game actually has combat then.
I'm thinking it probably will because it's just like she straight up says she likes it and she wants to do it. She was like, it's like it was a Twitter post describing her plans for like the next 10 years, and it's just like I just want to make a lot of stuff, I want to write a lot of stories, and I want to make games that have like JRPG exploration and turn-based combat. I'm just gonna find it so I don't keep putting words in her mouth and paste it in the channel.
I mean, now's the best time for someone like her because fucking Jippity can just be your programmer. So
yeah, but I mean she is a person who clearly has a vision. So I mean, if that vision doesn't coincide with how she wants to make shit, then I don't know. I'm not gonna tell her how to how to fucking make shit.
Oh wait,
Well,
it
I'm
says
just
she's
saying
a visual
it'll help
novelist.
with programming.
All right, I'll give my.
She's a sick fucking artist, by the way.
Oh yeah,
I love that picture.
she's extremely good. She's an extremely talented artist and
Yeah.
writer. Okay, so here's my answer. I don't know how I'm gonna like distill this out. I'm just gonna like cut out a lot of text, but if there's anything to expand on, just let me know. So, because I have a lot to say here, and I'm gonna try and condense it down. So, to me, I think writing in video games can be comprised of a framework that's pretty similar to writing anything of quality, with one glaring exception or addition. And so that framework is going to be comprised of 5 different things. And those are earned moments. That's pretty self explanatory. Resonance through relatability, rhythm and breath, integration with the systemic elements, and any kind of like subtext or implication. And so again, I can define those better if you want me to, but I can think of a lot of games that operate inside of that framework well. But if I zoom in and think about it a bit, about what specific game like does it the absolute best, or like what scene does it the absolute best, it's the scene from uh, coincidentally enough Disco Elysium, where our protagonist is speaking to Dolores Day, who is the Jesus-like deity figure of the world, who's actually presented in a dream as our hero's ex-wife. And so I go through very painstaking detail in describing how that fits inside of each part of the framework. But suffice to say, I think every game's pros should attempt to operate on some kind of axis within that framework, provided it's something that they even care about, right? Like, obviously, not every game on the planet is going to give a shit about, like, putting forth some broad, sweeping narrative or whatever. Uh, but in bringing that back around to Hello Charlotte, I think where this game struggled was with those earned moments and the subtext, like I've been saying. Like, is it relatable? Yes. I'm going to go ahead and assume it's relatable as someone who is very far outside the realm of someone who would have experienced the things in this game. But um, is Etheraine a talented writer who has a very good sense of rhythm? Absolutely. Does the game integrate itself with this medium as well as an RPG Maker game? Probably could be expected to, I guess. But it does a really poor job of operating inside of those liminal spaces that don't need to be explained. Like, you're outwardly showing me my anxiety pills, bullying, images of self-harm, etc., etc., etc. I don't need that to be filled in the writing as well. Like, use the writing for something else. You are showing me these pills, you're showing me people getting bullied, you're showing me these images of self-harm. I do not need that to be reinforced through the writing as much as it was in this game. So, like, I think in this game specifically, she could have used the writing for something else or to explain different aspects of the characters and this story rather than the way that she chose to, or at least like change to the way she was showing me these things. Like, there's something there that could have been changed, and I think if she had just mixed up the prose and the visual aspects of what she was showing me, I think would have served the game significantly better.
There's like kind of a lot to think of in terms of what you said. And really it like just kind of in you talking, it made me realize like even though I may not love the things that she's done so far, I still want to kind of support all of the things that she's done.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing, right? Like, in
Yeah.
my eyes, she is 0 for 2, but I am still extraordinarily
Yeah,
interested in her work.
exactly.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I didn't think about that like that. Like, especially where you wrote up there with like earned moments. That's what I was thinking about, like with 1,000 X Resist, where like I was like really immersed in like I don't know, I felt like some kind of way with like a lot of the cutscenes, but like I remember like you guys maybe like and understandably not feeling the same way, and like maybe like I'm trying really hard, like, fathom like the hypothetical person that would be affected by like the earned moments in this game, or quote unquote earned moments. It's just I don't know.
It's a hard thing to do. It's super difficult. It's the
Yeah.
hardest thing to do, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm being way too harsh, and like anyone out there that like does empathize, I apologize. That being said, you pacing this is very beneficial for me because
Yeah.
it is a lot to get through, and I think like when I was listening through it, like I did like generally agree with everything you said.
Yeah, I didn't want to read all of that because it was going to take like 15 minutes. So because that's just the snips.
Yeah, I guess I kind of think of these games as like potential, basically. I think that's why I'm interested. And like no matter what, I think that Etheraine is a super talented visual artist to the point of where I would play basically anything that she would put out if it wasn't like unreasonably priced. I think now though, in seeing that portrait or whatever she has for that Twitter post, I want to see what she does when it's not like a fucked up story, when she's just kind of doing like more traditional media and just see like the crazy fucking like colorful landscapes that she can make for like a fantasy setting or something. But I don't think that that's the kind of person that we're dealing with.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
Like I was just looking at her Twitter for like a couple of things she drew, and it's not like fucked up. It's just like colorful, cool drawings of like the characters.
Yeah, so her next game is called the one that she's working on now that you can't play yet is called Rehab Friday. So take that as you know.
Yeah, one of the games that has like the fucking milk inside of a bag, inside of a bag of milk, inside of a bag of milk vibes. It's called like Tomorrow something. Oh. Tomorrow won't come for those without, and then it's a bunch of squares.
All right, let's gab about Etheraine after we do our ratings. IMO.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh wait,
Do you want to do awards?
yeah, awards.
We have
I
awards.
forgot all about that. Well, I wrote the awards and I forgot about them. All right. Well, tonight's an on-the-fly kind of night anyway, so... all right, awards. So, what was your guys' favorite socialization enemy? I took a screenshot.
I'll tell you right now, it doesn't matter which one it is, but I don't remember what the enemy looked like, but I know what it did. And what it did was never damage me. Every time I looked up the combat log after his attack, it said I was healed by 1 SPP, and that's the enemy I liked because I didn't have to think. I knew that if I kept pressing confirm, the combat would be over. And that was not the case with the other ones. Like if I saw more than one enemy and Henri was not with me, escape immediately.
I now feel like I'm not playing the same game as you guys. So I think I got into 2 combats, and both of them I think was with the enemy that Ben was just talking about.
I got into like 10 or so.
That was my favorite. The anxious student.
I don't
Yeah,
know if I ever
she doesn't
even
do anything,
saw
right?
that one.
Yeah.
I never saw that one.
Yeah,
I don't
I
think
think
I've
that's
ever
the only
seen
one
that
that I saw.
yeah. She doesn't do shit.
Wait,
Yeah, that's
Did
the
you-
only enemy I saw.
wait, Sesh, did you not see the fucking dismembered student ones?
Yeah, those are like the ones I saw the most, like the ones that have like organs like crawling out of them and shit.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. I only saw
There's-
the one
there's-
combo. That's why I was like, I think we played it. I definitely didn't see
Oh.
that one. No,
That
I
one
think
was my favorite with the 3 bullies. I like that one. Oh,
dude,
that
that's
one's cool.
insane. You know, I think I
It's
got
a lot
into
more
2,
than I
maybe
thought.
3 combats, and it's only with the first enemy that Tom posted.
There's a lot more of those than I thought. Wow.
Now I understand the question. Oh wait, no, I saw that enemy too.
That's also a good
That-
one.
that
The one
one.
I just posted.
The
Oh, I forgot about that one, yeah.
like the 4 dudes gray one is the other one that I saw.
Student amalgamate.
Yep, that was the first one I saw, and then besides that, it was just the anxious one. I didn't see the other ones at all.
Yeah, my favorite was definitely the bullies one. I thought that one looked cool. And it was actually hard.
This is crazy. I feel like I played it. I didn't even play the game now.
No, I think you basically.
Yeah,
played
if
it.
if you were in if you got into one combat, you got the gist of it.
So they're all nothing.
Yeah, I don't. What happens if you quote unquote die in combat? I'm curious.
You just
It's
get a
just a
bad
game
end
over
like
screen.
usual, and then you
Okay,
just reload your old save.
Like connection has been lost
I
screen.
guess.
Yeah, exactly. That's what happens.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
those
fucked
are
up.
good stuff. I love every single one of those drawings. All right, let's be good managers. We'll end with a compliment sandwich here. And what do you guys feel like was episode two's biggest weakness?
Without having played episode 3, I felt that episode 2 shows maybe like a plateau of how much Etheraine can get out of RPG Maker. Like this is kind of it, maybe. Unless episode 3 is like some kind of like fucking banger.
Do you mean her or do you mean the human race?
Her.
Okay.
Sorry if that was ambiguous.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, for me, it was definitely the combat. It felt like it literally just felt like someone played the first game, told her, "Hey, I want turn-based combat in my game," and she was like, "Okay," and then just that was it. There was no more thought put into it than that.
For me, it's the accessibility, and it's not even close.
Yeah,
It's like an actively super negative experience.
I actually agree with that. Like, there's a reason why I only wanted to launch this game one time and then never again. All right, and wrapping up our compliment sandwich, what's its biggest strength?
I feel like even though maybe we dunked on the narrative pretty hard, I actually feel like the character dynamics are actually pretty good. Like the core idea of what she has there are pretty good, and they like the characters communicate what they are meant to be in the story, and I feel like all of that worked all pretty well. Good words.
I agree. It's crazy though because I was gonna do a countdown for 3, 2, 1, and we all say it at the same time because it was gonna be the same answer, and I thought it was gonna be the art.
Oh.
No, I have a slightly different one, but I kind
Oh
of
no
lost it,
shit!
so I'll let someone else continue while I gather my thoughts again.
I thought
I'm
this was
kind of
almost a slam
developing on the
dunk.
fly. It's not what I wrote down.
I mean, the reason I'm not saying the art is because the art was also great in episode 1. There's just more of it in episode 2.
Yeah, and it's the best part to me.
Yeah, I guess I'm interpreting the question a little bit differently. I guess you're right.
Yeah, I think the biggest strength in this game for me is the times where she actually does kind of like take the leash off of her prose and decides to wax poetically, because I think she is extremely fucking good at it. She just doesn't do it enough in this game. And I'm specifically thinking of fuck, what's it called? It's in Vincent's like journal thing. It's like the Tale of Two Gods or whatever.
Yeah,
Very, very well written. When she's waxing poetically, she is like, in my opinion, outside of the art. The art is obviously her like fucking like crowning achievement, but she is a good writer. Do not get it twisted. I dunked on the narrative. I hated the way that she decided to tell the story, but she is a very good fucking writer.
yeah.
Yeah, and to springboard off that, because like some of what you said just reminded me what I was trying to formulate with the answer to this award, and I think the biggest strength is actually the world building, and this is the part where now that I think about it a little bit more, I think this is where playing episode 1 kind of enhanced it. Where like with the Book of Truth and all these different like her lore vocabulary, you know what I mean? Maybe that's like the wrong term, but like the encyclopedia of like the universe she created, like all the different terms and stuff. Like I thought that she did a lot of work there, and it was like a lot of like creative and like novel stuff that I liked a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100% agreed. Like, even though I think we're all gonna rate this game fairly shitty, like I still find it amazing that, like, even though she's not hitting, she's still kind of hitting, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I kind of just think that there's like a lot of potential. Like I think eventually one of her games could be like a big hit. And I think that I would grant her the grace of trying all of her projects because it's her.
Yeah, like she's like definitely an auteur, and I don't think
Yeah.
any kind of like auteur is expected to like nail it every time, but I think like nail it in terms of like widespread like appeal or whatever, but she has a very, very interesting voice, like artistically, that is intriguing enough that
Yeah.
it like makes me want to keep checking her shit out.
Exactly. Exactly.
So with that in mind, do you want to see if this is going to become the new lowest rated game of all time? I don't think it's going to be.
Let's find out.
I don't think it's going to be.
Yeah, it's
Logic
not going to be
Bombs.
Logic Bomb.
And
The first game was
my guess
close.
is terrible.
The first game was really close to beating Logic Bombs. I think it was like 0.08 higher or some shit.
It's fucking Ben's fault.
Yeah, Ben gave it a 6. What a maniac. I guess I give it a 5.
I mean, it was. I justified it. I thought it was a good justification. Not one that everyone can agree with, but one that makes sense.
I mean, I'm just talking shit.
If some of the decisions of that game weren't so abhorrent to me, I might have been in your ballpark.
Yeah.
Specifically, like the cheat thing or whatever.
All right. Well, overall scores. Someone get the ID and the guess command handy. I'll go first because I'm pretty short here. So I guess one thing that is like very obvious to glean from all of this, at least from what I've been saying, is that I have a tremendous amount of respect for Etheraine. It's really not easy to put yourself out there the way that she did for this game, that in my estimation, and maybe I'm off base, but I don't think I am, but it's very difficult to just bare your entire brain for the world to see. And I think that she pretty clearly has a lot of talent as a writer, even though I I wouldn't say that's on full display here. Uh, like I mentioned before, there's just way too much heavy-handed clumsiness here that like precludes me from thinking on the game favorably. But if I allow myself to zoom out a bit and look at this as something that was made by someone in their early 20s, I would still just maintain that their best work was still ahead of them. And so I still see the potential in what she's doing, but again, unfortunately, this game didn't live up to the lofty expectations I kind of heralded on it after the first game. But regardless, like, despite all of that, there's just something about her style that keeps my interest peaked. And even though, like I said earlier, she's kind of 0 for 2, I still am extremely excited to see more of her work just to see where it goes. Because if nothing else, it's interesting. And that's all that I want out of art is don't fucking bore me. And she doesn't bore me, that is for sure. But regardless of that, it still gets a solid 4.5 out of 10.
That's way lower than I thought.
Hell yeah.
Oh, Jordan nailed it.
I was going to pick 4.5 too, but I was like, you might not go that low.
I actually have 5 out of 10 written in my notes, and I changed it in the last 5 seconds.
Son of a bitch. I can go next.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of it for me is just like after the first game, I just had so like it's probably unfair of me, but I levied a lot on what I was expecting out of this game, and that's mostly because of cringe internet redditors who were talking about how
Yeah.
much they cried and shit, and so the expectations that I went into this game with were not met, which probably isn't fair, which is why I was saying before, if I hadn't played the first game or if the first game didn't exist, I think I would have liked this one more. But
Yeah. I mean, that's why I gave you like a little bit lower than what you did the first time, because I was like, I think a lot of the things that you liked about the first game aren't present in this game. So that's why I thought it was going to be like a little bit lower.
Yeah, in hindsight, I should have lowered it for that reason too. I kept thinking that like since it's leaning away from that kind of horror-y stuff that the first game had, it would have been lower, but I didn't think to guess it lower.
all right, Jordan, you're up.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's pretty easy for me. I think this game is definitely like a step up from the previous game. It's kind of like more like traditional with characters and the story, which like I mean I like more character centric stories anyway. I don't think that she did like a great job with anything, but I think she definitely kind of has like the framework for what could be good writing in the future. It's just kind of like potential and everything. I do think it's better than the first game, but I kept waffling back and forth between two scores, and I think ultimately I'm going to end at a 3 instead of a 2.5, just because I think that she did a good enough job, and mainly giving me like hope for future works more than happiness with the current work.
Damn, I'm good.
Wow.
What was your rating?
3.
Oh, hell yeah.
I at least guessed that it was going to be higher than the first episode.
Yeah. I think it's much better than the first game, mainly because it just removed all the fucking obnoxious horseshit.
Yeah. All the stupid ass, like, waste your fucking time puzzles being gone
Yeah.
was a big step in the right direction.
And I think also if I played this game in 2016 when it came out, I probably would like it a lot more. But having played Amori, like, it's just like kind of unfortunate for E3.
Yeah, that's
Amori is literally just what this game wants to do, which is like better in almost every way except the art. I think she's a better artist.
Yeah, probably. Amori's art is really good, but
really good art. But I mean, like we're talking like a fucking 18-year-old girl.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is a little bit of a tangent, but I feel like Omori is just like I feel like it's even more stylized in this game, and that like kind of like crayon style drawing that I love. But
absolutely.
Yeah, they're definitely both great in their art department at the very least.
And Amori also took like fucking 12 years to make or something compared to these games, which took like 8 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Amori started development in like 2012 and released in 2020 to the point of where like people thought it was a scam for like 4 years. People thought they got scammed out of Kickstarter money. But anyway, Seth, do you want to go?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I don't have a ton of thoughts about this game. I really just didn't have that great of an experience playing it. Like, none of the accessibility stuff getting improved sucked. Stuff that like kind of bugged me in the first game, I almost wish was present in this game. Like some of that weird horror-y stuff that, like at the very least, it made it stand out, you know, and being like kind of grating but still getting through it or whatever. But I don't know. The character dynamics were good, and so as a snap judgment with some of the narrative stuff, I'm bumping it up a half point than my original score. I don't know. I just didn't love this game. I feel like I expected a little bit more, and that might be a little bit unfair, but I'm still gonna arrive at a 3.5.
Oh yeah.
But you're gonna hate it a little bit more.
Damn, you guessed him lower than you. That's intense.
Yeah. I thought he was gonna fucking hate it.
Well, I'm 2 for 2.
I mean, for me, a 3 is definitely hating it. A 2 or a 1 is like I'm posting in the chat about how much I fucking hate this game, and I don't know if I'm gonna finish the game because of how much I hate it. That would be a 1 or a 2.
Gotcha. Now I know.
All right, Ben, you're up.
Did you say 3.5?
Yeah, 3.5. I give it a half point at the end for narrative-y stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so my rating is I was actually oscillating a bit. Like I think I started like before everything, before this discussion, and I kind of like revised my opinion. I kind of came in at a 6 out of 10, but I think I'm gonna settle at a 5 out of 10. And the reason why is because I rated episode 1, I think a 4 out of 10, and I feel like I kind of mentioned this earlier, like briefly, but like I feel like it just, at least in terms of gameplay, it's not big enough or even really an evolution at all from the first game. I really felt like a lot of it was just the same thing, except one dungeon was taken out from the first game that sucked ass, and that's that's basically episode 2 for the most part. Mechanically, it's the same thing, and it's just wasn't enough to like bump up the numbers even more outside of just the general polish. And also, I guess easier digestible story. I guess I give like some points for that. And by points, I mean fractions.
Did you say? What did you say? A 5?
Yeah, 5.
Damn, I was 3 for 3 tonight.
Hell yeah!
Very
I think it
nice.
beat Logic Bombs, right?
Oh,
What are we at?
it slaughtered Logic Bombs, I
7
think.
and a half, 12, 17. What is Logic Bombs?
What'd you rate it? Oh, wait, no, I see it.
14, 15 and a half. Yeah, beat it by a point and a half.
All right, it should all be up there now. Let's see. Yeah, average rating for Hell of Charlotte episode 2 is 4.0, exact same as episode 1, I might add. And Logic
That's funny.
Bombs was 3.88.
Oh, wow.
Crushed them.
Yeah, it's crazy because like the ratings feel appropriate and they feel fair, but I also don't feel like it. This is like one of the few cases where I feel like my low ass score is not like justified by a certain level of like vitriol behind it. Like I'm not sitting here
Yeah.
wanting to shit on the game because like I think it's how do I phrase this? I think it's like it's an admirable artistic endeavor, even if it didn't really like pan out. I'm glad it exists. Whereas something like
sure.
Logic Bombs, I think the world is like actively worse for having it exist.
I mean, I don't feel that viscerally about Logic Bombs, even though I was the lowest fucking voter. I mean, I'm
We're
glad
gonna
that all of this
Yeah,
shit.
I mean honestly,
Good
I don't.
We're gonna be shitting on that game till the end of
I
the
don't
time.
feel.
I definitely.
I don't
will.
feel that way about Logic Bombs, but what I do actually genuinely feel that way about is Tears of the Kingdom.
I mean, that only makes sense because Tears of the Kingdom is in the position to dictate like trends in gaming. And if
Exactly.
you don't like it, then yeah, that will actively make the world worse. For sure.
Exactly my point.
Yeah.
So yeah, Etheraine, don't get down on yourself for your 10-year-old games ratings, because I think you're great.
Yeah, without a doubt. I'm actually like excited to play more of the stuff, especially getting outside of Hello Charlotte.
Yeah, and even for me, like even though, like I said, 0 for 2, I still really want to play Hello Charlotte episode 3.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'm invested. It's kind of like not as harsh as what I'm about to say, but it's kind of like Kingdom Hearts, where like I'm already invested. I need to see what
Oh,
happens in the end.
I mean, that's definitely. Did you play all 3 Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I did too.
Speaking
yeah.
of unfortunate,
I played the supplementary games.
Speaking of unfortunate, I did
Tom?
launch Hello Charlotte episode 3 just to see if the accessibility stuff was there. Yeah. I guess that shouldn't
Is it
come as a
really
big
not?
surprise.
Oh
but,
no.
That's crazy, dude. How are you gonna charge money and it's still not fixed?
Yeah, that's I mean, granted, all I did was just launch into the main menu, but all I did was see the like 320 by 240 window, and that was enough to extrapolate.
Such a bummer. Fuck.
Well, regardless, I'm still pumped to play it. So if you guys still want to
Yeah.
continue on with our intermezzo Hello Charlotte journey,
Yeah.
I'm down.
Yeah,
Might as well finish it at this point.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously it's not the upcoming week, because the upcoming week is going to be Baldur's Gate Act 2. But then
One thing
hell
I
yeah.
will say, and this is to her credit, I think she prices her games fairly.
Yeah, I agree.
Free?
No, they're like, well, only the demo is free, right? These other ones were like, was it like
Oh, did I pay money
$2.99
for
or
this? Hold
I don't
on,
know
I'm
if you
gonna
did. I did.
I'm gonna go down half a point. I'm kidding. Did this game cost money?
The third game does, the other two don't.
Oh yeah, the second game
Yeah.
does.
Oh wait, I
I
thought
never
the
bought it.
second. Wait, why did I think the second game cost money? Am I crazy? I must be crazy.
Ben actually wants to give it a 5.5 now.
Yeah.
No, I'm not gonna change it. But like for some reason, why did I think I gave her money already?
Did you buy episode 3?
I didn't.
I don't think so, because it's
Yeah, episode 3 is $4 and the
No, I did
DLC
not.
is $2.
okay. Yeah, I think I just hallucinated in just like a high in this session, which is all the time. So
That's funny. Maybe because you actually had to add a real game to your library versus the demo, so you thought that it would be money,
yeah,
even though
what?
they were both free.
Okay. Well, the third one I think is probably fairly priced.
I think these two could have been $1, and I think
I
that's a fair
agree.
price.
I agree. Yeah, and in my mind, I thought I paid $1.99 for it.
I would have paid $1.
Yeah. I think that there's a. I mean, I don't know if we want to like just wrap up here and then we can talk about this, but yeah.
I say we just bullshit. Seth can cut it out if he
just
wants
'cause
to.
I think Steam games make a gigantic
Get lost,
mistake
Craig.
charging $1 or being free when they could charge $1. Because I think a free game to me means like it's not worth my fucking time at all. Whereas $1 is like, okay, there's something here. And then like $5 is obviously like where it's like we're coaching real product territory.
For me, it's entirely and 100% dependent on genre. Like, if it's a free-to-play idle game, sure. If it's a free-to-play,
sure.
Korean MMO, sure. If it's a free-to-play
Yeah.
RPG Maker game, get that shit out of my face.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I only mean like small team free to play style single player games. Like I think if you make a single player game and it's free to play, I'm almost certainly not going to play it. Like almost 100% of the time, not going to play it.
I
Complete
don't even think I have any of those except for this one, I guess.
complete side note tangent. I was just browsing the Steam store because I was looking at Hello Charlotte, and then today I just learned that there's an Axiom Verge 2. What the fuck? And it came out like 30 years ago.
Oh,
I was just saying that's old.
I really liked the first game. I didn't even know that
I remember
existed.
that coming out.
I've only heard that the second one's better than the first one, but I didn't like the first one. So
Careful, buddy. We already got a new hot and ready Metroidvania coming out.
Oh, very true. $20 hot and ready.
fucking Game Pass hot and ready. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, true.
yeah.
I mean, I was just making a little Caesar's ref. Yeah. So, did we decide what we're gonna do for like scheduling for that shit? Like, are we just gonna do 2 weeks for like Baldur's Gate Act 2 next week, Hello Charlotte episode 3 the week after, Baldur's Gate 3 Act 3 after that, Silk Song after that? Is that kind of the plan?
That sounds good to me.
It works for me.
Sounds close, yeah.
Assuming
definitely
Silk
playing-
Song isn't just like the largest game to ever be created. That's
It's
probably
not
enough
gonna
time
be.
to play it.
I think it's going to be close
Yeah,
to the same size as the first
I
one.
already been reading reviews, so at least they've been showing up in my fucking phones like Google fucking AI goddamn journalist article shit.
That's who's reviewing it.
I saw
I don't
one
know if
on
reviews for this game will mean anything to me, because, like, I don't know. I just have to see for myself if it's any different from the first game, because that's all that really matters to me.
literally.
It's going to be a lot closer.
Yeah,
the
I
same
know.
game.
I think I'm going to be disappointed, but that's just speaking for myself.
Yeah, most of the reviews that I've seen just said that it's just the first game. Like it's just a safe.
I don't know how
sequel.
you've seen reviews. Is it people who played the demo at Gamescom?
I have no clue. I just assumed that journalists were doing journalist things because I think what I saw was on Rock Paper Shotgun.
They didn't send out review copies to anybody.
Oh yeah, this shit was from a week ago. All right, I take it all back. This is all fake news.
It's the Gamecom's demo reviews because they specifically said we're not sending out any copies because we think it's unfair for journalists to play it before Kickstarter backers.
Well, good on them. Especially because game journalists are fucking cuckolds. Well, I guess it's mostly just ChatGPT now.
Unfortunately, yeah. There's so many of those fucking sites like Game Rant and like all the walkthrough sites now. I feel like it's just fucking ChatGPT bullshit.
Man, I really want to know what it was about this game that made people fucking cry. It's like such a common sentiment, I feel, and I just don't get it.
I think it's
Same
relatability.
with Edith Finch.
I think you just have to be like someone who struggles with mental illness and kind of be like a early to mid to late teenager. Same thing with like Amori. Like everybody likes Amori. I like Hello Charlotte. I think that's a circle.
So that was Hello Charlotte episode 2. Next week we'll be discussing Baldur's Gate 3 Act 2, and that's an episode.